Thank you for watching Truth and Justice with Vivian King. This is a show where I try to educate you about the criminal justice system through people's stories. So tonight we have part 2 of Ramon Curry's story of incarceration and redemption. I'm excited to introduce Ramon Curry. So Ramon, tell us a little bit about your story again, just in case someone's watching that didn't watch it last time.
Okay, so
Tell me about it, beginning to end.
So we started last time. I talked about the beginning, how I started my first encounter with the Justice Department. Right? So I went to TYC, the Texas Youth Commission.
That's what I thought. TYC.
Yeah, I went to TYC at 15 in '91. I came home in '92. I went to prison in '94, July of '94. I was 18. I came home in 2010. I was right before my 36th birthday.
So 18 in July of '94.
To April the 30th of 2010.
And you were 36.
Yeah, right before my
Right before your 36th birthday.
Yeah.
Right, and I know that your crimes were robbery, but never killing anybody.
No, I've never killed anybody. I never even hurt anybody in one of my robberies.
Okay.
So, it was just...
I think we talked about the fact that when you got how much time did you get in 1994?
15.
So they gave you 15 years?
Yes.
Okay, and you did the whole 15?
I did the whole thing. And so we talked about how at that point in time, you were saying that in '92, they had opened up the state jails. And so it became just the available space. Right,
because basically people always used to ask me when someone went to prison, their son went to prison, how long is he going to stay? I said, well, if the sentence is 15 years, he's supposed to stay 15 years. But the state does it based on availability of beds and conduct of people in prison.
Right.
So they have to decide who they're going to let out to make space for the ones they're bringing in. So when the state jails were created and they took that nonviolent offenders out of going to TDC
right.
and no longer let them do the 3 strikes you're out. Because remember I told you back in '92, you could get 25 years for a crack rock.
Right.
For 1 gram, which is a sweet and low pack, you can get 25 to life.
Yeah, that was the 100-to-1 rule.
That was crazy. And so once they created the state jails, everybody that had those under a gram nonviolent cases,
right.
forgery, theft, third offender, certain theft, basically nonviolent offenses. Even burglary at one point actually was a misdemeanor. Burglary was a misdemeanor. It was a felony, then it went misdemeanor. Now it's a misdemeanor again, burglary of a motor vehicle.
Right.
And so the nonviolent offenses, you went to state jail for 6 months to 2 years. Once they created these state jails, then there was a lot of space back in 1994. So if you got 15 years, if you got 15 years a few years before, you'd have been out.
Right, right.
I think they used to do like a fourth of the time, a third of the time. It wasn't even halftime back then. The violent crimes weren't even halftime.
And that's how they was getting us, because I seen parole for the first time in like 15 months, because that's what they were saying. On a 15-year sentence, I seen parole like at 15 months, 18 months. But that's another thing they keep setting you off.
Right.
So, and they can use anything to set you off.
Right.
Right. It's because at that point it's up to them. They keep setting you off for nature of the offense, things that you can't change.
Right.
So no longer how long I'm gonna be there, the nature of the offense doesn't change. So it's not based on anything that I'm doing at that time. It's based on the nature of the offense. But like
so when you went in at 18, let's talk about your personal life. When you went in at 18, tell me about your home life. I think you told us before that your mom was alive. She wasn't happy with what you were doing, but tell us a little bit about what your home life was then, and then I want to talk about, lead up to how it was when you got out. Because that usually is what I've noticed in my 32 years of practicing that changes people. Like when you're 18, you kind of have that effort attitude. You get high, you do what you're doing, you rob, cheat and steal, and you don't really value your family like you should. You don't put them first. But what I've noticed, this is just me, and I want you to tell me about your experience. My clients that are in jail long enough, say if they go in as teenagers and they stay in till they're like 30, it seems like 30 is the age where people mature in prison. It's like then they kind of do value the person who wrote them, who stood by them. The person that was standing by them all their life until they were 15 to 18, but then it's like a mother dies or a grandmother dies, they couldn't go to the funeral, and all of a sudden, it seems like it changes them. I find people to be less violent. It doesn't mean they're going to stop, especially if they're mental or don't get the proper mental health treatment from going through a devastating, traumatic situation like going to prison. But I just know that after the age of 30, my clients were less violent. If there was violence, it would be provoked. It wasn't just like, I'm gonna just jack you and shoot you and take, stuff. It would be more like maybe a domestic dispute if they got in trouble, or, something where people know each other. It's not as random. What's your thoughts?
For me, for me, when I was there, my home life, when I was 18, so I was only on the streets for 45 plus days. Like, I turned 18 May 31st. I got locked up July the 11th. So my teenage years, at that point in time, like I said, it was hectic. It was chaotic. Mom going through the things that she's going through.
And she was in a violent relationship, right?
Yes.
Abusive relationship.
Very, abusive relationship. And that's kind of what we had left off at. We had talked about I had a shootout with my stepdad and his brothers, and it was, the whole situation was just.
And in the shootout, nobody got hurt?
Yeah, my uncle got shot.
Okay.
Well, my stepdad brother got shot.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and anyway, it was just, the things is that for me, I was dealing with things, I was limited in my tools. So we're limited at that age. I was a teenager, but for as long as I could remember, I was dealing with adult situations, right? So you got a 13, 14, I started hustling in 89. I'm 13 years old. My brother 15. So at this time, we're doing things, but we're trying to help pay real bills, right? We're trying to help provide for a family, because it's just us and our mother. And at the time, she's dealing with her addictions and different things that's going on. So when we talk about addressing the youth and the kids and what they're dealing with, we have to offer real solutions. We have to offer real solutions. We telling kids, hey, go in and meditate and think about this and go count to 10 and go de-stress and this, that, and the other. But, man, it's real life situations that they're dealing with, right? So it wasn't necessarily that I never had I don't care. I had already accepted that I was going to prison.
Why did you accept that?
Because in the life that you live in, you already know that is the consequence, right? I'm out here robbing, and the consequence for robbing is you can get killed, you can go to jail.
Right.
These are real life consequences, right? So I'm not oblivious to what the consequences are. So I know at any moment I could lose my life or I can go to prison. I've already accepted that I'm not gonna let anybody kill me, so prison is the option, is what I've accepted. And in that acceptance, so many, I guess at the time, it's like I don't even want to say hopelessness. It's just like, this is just what it is.
Do you think in that young mindset that you had, what could have stopped you from doing that? I know you said you didn't have the tools, but there are people that have tools that you can go to. Would you have received those tools?
So this is what I'm doing now. So my thing now is creating options for kids like myself at that time. So we have to replace one thing with another, right? So we had a chaos into purpose where we take some young brothers and we say, hey man, if you can sell weed, you can sell socks. You can sell t-shirts. You know what I'm saying? You can sell household goods. So we teach them, hey man, let's set your EIN numbers up. Let's get you a tax ID number. Let's get you an online store. And then bam, instead of selling weed, sell socks. Mm-hmm. Sell t-shirts. It's the same. So what I'm doing now is teaching young brothers that, man, business is business, right? Supply and demand is supply and demand. If you can sell drugs, if you can organize, then you can sell any product.
That's true.
Right? So we linked up with another company called TLC, total life changes. And they set guys up too. So, you know, it's like, hey, this way they can sell NutriBurst, they can sell vitamins, they can sell different things. Because, man, if I'm telling this young brother to stop selling drugs, what am I, hey, man, well, okay, if you don't want me to sell drugs, feed me.
Got to give him an option.
Give me an option, right? So, and I think we talk about what motivates the change or what starts the change. For me, like I say, I was in SEG. I did a couple of years in SEG, and I realized that God had to have created me for something better than this, right? So that's when I was really just like, man.
And how old were you when you were in SEG?
I went to SEG in 98. I went to SEG May of 98 till February of 2000. So at 98, I was 22 years old. Yeah, 22 to 24.
And tell me, explain to our viewing audience what SEG is.
23 hours a day in a cell.
By yourself.
23 hours a day in the cell by yourself. The whole process going into SEG, it's a break. They want to break you. They want to break you. They take everything from you to the point where you have no soap, no deodorant, no toothpaste, right? And you have to be in this condition for 90 days. That's on level 3. So you on level 3 for 90 days with no toothpaste, no deodorant, no soap.
Wow. So even if you have the money to buy it, they won't let you buy it?
Yeah, it's restricted. You can't have it.
Can you have visitors those 90 days?
Yeah, somebody can come see you, but they gonna bring you out like you Hannibal Lecter. Okay. They gonna bring you out chained down like Hannibal Lecter. They don't want your people to see you like that.
Right.
You know, put you in a little box. So then, you know, once they feel like they done broke you, then they move you up to level 2 and they give you some of your products. They give you now you can get some hygiene. Now you can get this, now you can get that. Now you can spend $10 of your money on commissary and buy you some stuff that you need, right? And then if you make it to level 1, then you can spend more money on commissary. But the whole process is they treat you that way. I mean, that's just dehumanized. That's belittling. That's degrading, right? To be in that condition.
Well, does putting you in SEG and dehumanizing you like that make you want to get back in the population and follow the rules now? I mean, does it work?
No, I mean, SEG.
I'm not saying it's the proper thing to do.
No.
I'm just asking, psychologically, does it make you work? Does it break you and make you work?
Well, for me, it's gonna affect certain people differently. Some people, man, was back there. There's a lot of guys back there that they break mentally. They not ever be the same. Mm. Well, you know, for me, I just realized that it's a story in the Bible where the prodigal son, he looked up and he was working in a pig pen. Yeah. And he was like, man, my father is a king, man. I'm tripping. Right. So I had one of them aha moments. I was like, man, Allah didn't create me for this. This can't be it. Wow. So, you know, it's like, man, I'm finna exit stage left. You know, I just gotta, you know, hey man, stay focused on what I need to do and get out of this situation. It's a chapter in my book. I say I was in SEG and I was looking in the mirror and I said, everything that I've done up until this point is nothing. It's BS. The reputation, all of those things. So it's like, man, the person that I really want to be is who I was created to be. And, you know, this ain't it.
Wow.
So that's the change. That's the change, right? In the Quran, it says that God won't change the condition of a people until they change what's in their minds. So I think at that point, I changed what I wanted. And then I earnestly just, you had asked me that last time. You was like, what was it? And I said, man, I didn't really get to it, is that I had to start praying. I really had to start praying. And
tell me about that, because you can pray like our Father who art in heaven. You can pray and call words. You can pray and have something on your mind and on your heart, and then your mind kind of wanders, But then there's a sincere, heartfelt prayer.
Oh, yeah.
So talk to me about praying and how you had to pray. Because you can have some prayers now with some tears in your eyes,
right.
And then you can have prayer where it's kind of superficial, but you're going through the motion. You know what I mean? So
right.
To me, if you were in that situation, you're doing the heartfelt prayer then.
So this is the
prayer. You're talking to God like for real.
Like we talking right now.
Right.
Okay. So when I was in SEG, this is one of the first times I seen the power of the prayer. I was in SEG and they served me with an indictment paper. I caught a free world case for the fighting of the officer. I got charged with assault on a public servant in bam. So like I told you last time, I fast for 3 days and I'm saying my prayers, but I'm sitting on the bunk and I'm talking to God just like I'm talking right now. And I say, man, I was defending myself. I wasn't the aggressor. I wasn't doing anything. And had I not defended myself, they would have hurt me. So how is this just? I say, how is this just?
And like if somebody just started, they don't know about the fight you had with the
right.
guards. So you're going to have to tell that story so we can get to this. So tell us, why are you in SEG?
Okay, so it's May 16th, and it's a Saturday, man. We go down to the damn chow hall, and I remember what they was having. They was having some pork sloppy joe. I don't even eat pork. Me and my buddy, another Muslim brother, we went down there just to get something cold to drink, because it's summertime. It's 100 degrees in the cell, right? No sooner than we sit down, and I'm in New Boston. on the Telford unit. So that's up, Texarkana way. It's hot. So no sooner than we sit down, the officer is like, hey, he hit the table. Hey, y'all get up. So I was like, damn, I haven't even had time to have a drink or whatever. So we're leaving, and I'm talking to the brother, and the officer, he said something to me. I said, hey, man, if I was talking to you, you would know. I'll let you know, man. And I walked off. And as I walked off, he's coming up behind me. He was like, oh, no, you got something to get up on the wall and face the wall. And I'm not facing the wall. Whatever we gonna do, we can do it face to face, and we just handle that. So I said, nah, man, I'm not facing the wall. And so he swung on me. And at that point in time, that just wasn't a good idea. I done got old now, but that was in, 98. I was young, and that's all we did. So it was action time. So, and the brothers who was with me, I talk about that in the book too. The brothers who was with me, like I say, man, Allah just was protecting me, because I had the right group of brothers in that hallway.
Wow.
Brothers that was not afraid, and yeah, we whooped their butt that day.
Oh, it wasn't just you?
No, it wasn't just me. It was me and some other brothers, man. Some other brothers, they.
So y'all were fighting multiple guards?
Oh yeah,
guard?
It was
on.
It was 5 of us and about 6 or 7 of them, and yeah, it was them brothers, man. Marcus Hood, brother out of Dallas. Yeah, them brothers we took care of our business that day.
Did y'all all go to SEG?
So, yes.
And you said the only thing that stopped you from hurting the guy is that one of the ladies.
So Miss Rush, Miss Cardwell, and the other sister, she came in there and she was like, Ramon, just stop. She was like, the camera's running, just stop. So I was like, okay. She's like, they ain't nobody gonna hurt you. We just gonna walk to 11 building. You know, we gonna walk to 11 building. And I say, hey, that's what happened. We just walked on down there, and that
Everybody
was it.
stopped and y'all walked on down
Yeah,
there.
just walked on down there. You know, they recorded because and right before that happened, that same unit, I don't even want to say it was the same officers, but those same group of officers that worked 8 building had just beat an inmate, another Muslim brother, while he was handcuffed. You know, so this was a time when they called the Telford unit the Terrible Telford. And it was one of the most violent prisons in Texas, you know. So it was a lot. But back to the prayer, you know, and I prayed, I said, man, I don't never want to go to court on this because I ain't do anything. I just defended myself. I went to SEG, time went on, you know, years went by. I went to the mail room one day. They had called me in for legal mail. It was a letter from Bowie County, and it was a court-appointed attorney. And he said, I recently took over this docket. I seen this case. I went to the DA. They're offering you 10 years. I balled the letter up and threw it in the trash, the first trash can I passed by. My brother, my biological brother, and I, we was on the same unit at the time. And he said, what was that? I said, man, that wasn't for me. He was like, what? I said, yeah, I don't know who that was for. That wasn't for me. About a year later, I get a letter from Bowie County, and they say case number such and such, you know, has been dismissed.
Wow.
Right? But in the interim, it was so many other times that I really just had to think about what I wanted, what I really, really wanted, and what I really thought God wanted for me versus what everybody else was saying. Because a lot of times, man, that's just what it is, you know. And that's what motivated my change. That's how my change began, is understanding that I had to be created for a better purpose than to be in prison, where they throwing feces on each other and, you know, people who, them officers down there, some of them not intelligent. They some of the worst people in the world, both inmate and officer, is behind those gates.
Wow.
That's just the reality. The worst people in the world are drawn to that place. You know what I mean? Even the officers, out of all the places in the world, this is where you end up working at. Why? And there's some that come there and they work there for a hot minute and then they gone. And there's some that's the ones that's there for 30 years plus, 10 years, 5 years. It's because they some of the worst people in the world. Just like the inmates, the ones that's there forever, they some of the worst people in the world. That's just the reality. They've done some of the most heinous things. So it's not exclusive just to the people in white, the ones in gray as well. And so I just knew that was a pig pen. That wasn't for me. I had to get out of there. So, and then that became my drive, right? Living for a bigger purpose.
Wow. Wow. So that 2 long years in SEG, how did it feel to get out?
So when they let me out of SEG,
Because I noticed you remember the dates.
I do. You remember dates that change your life. And I got out of SEG in Beaumont, February 24th of 2000. And I was over here at the Styles unit. And mind you, I had been on Telford, I had been on the Roach unit, I had been far away from home, where it's not that many people that look like us. And so when I got out of SEG,
Where is that? Not many people look like us. Where?
like, there's not a lot of black folks.
Where?
Telford, up there in New Boston.
Okay.
When I was on the all red unit, that's what they call it, all red. When I got off the bus over there, the warden told me, man, hey, keep your hands off my officers and my white boys. That, I mean, they let you know off the top. In Middleton Unit, Abilene, Texas, they had officers, they used to make them put Band-Aids over their KKK tattoos and they swastika tattoos. This is like, they had the red bandana gang, where in the blue bandana gang, where these white boy officers, they just is, and this is known. They look in TDC records. There's just, everything I'm saying right now could be researched. They can find it. Them officers down there are some of the worst people in the world. So, but when I got off the bus, now mind you, I'm just getting out of SEG. I've been on the Telford unit with a bunch of New Boston was the headquarters for the KKK, and the officers let you know that. Even the black officers let you know, hey man, all these folks are part of the Klan. So that's the environment where I was at. And I got here to Beaumont and got off that bus and I seen a bunch of black women. I said,
now, what do you mean? The black women were in jail there? Or you
no,
just
they
walking
were the
around
officers.
Oh, they were the officers.
It's a bunch, you know, and then, you know, I had been locked up. I got there. I said, man,
you get to look at some pretty women.
Sisters, right?
Right.
And it was, so that was a relief. That was and then it was just being in that isolation for so long gave me a lot of time to be introspective and to think about things. And when I got released out to population, I seen some of the things that the brothers was doing, and I was just like, man, we didn't let these people, we didn't let this situation, because I don't want to even say these people, we have let this institution change us. That institution is not built to rehabilitate.
Right.
It's not. It's not designed for rehabilitation. It is designed to create a super predator.
Damn. You think it's designed to, wow.
And here's what I'm gonna tell you why. When you go, you take a guy that's already a predator because that's how he got to prison, right? Can we agree to that?
Yes.
Okay. So now,
because a predator went, so now he's gonna come out, he becomes super
predator.
Okay.
Look, while he's in prison, he cannot earn any money. So who gonna take care of him?
Somebody when he gets out.
No, he's in prison.
Oh.
Who's gonna take care of him while he's there?
I don't know.
Right? If he was out here taking care of his family and he was the breadwinner, and now he's in there, then he can't even reach back here to get money.
Right.
So now you done put this predator in this environment, and I have to survive.
Right.
Okay? So then you got guys that's they gonna prey on the officers. They gonna get the officers to traffic and trade narcotics. They gonna prey on, you know, the weaker inmates that are there. They gonna make them pay protection. They gonna steal out the kitchen. They gonna prey on their families. They become master manipulators. Why? Because you gotta survive. I have to survive. The state doesn't give me anything. So, right, then the other stuff, you know, it's just all of these. Now let's say you and I we together. Your family is in a position to take care of you. All right? They send you money every 2 weeks, every month, whatever. You're able to go to commissary. You and I live on the same tank. I don't. You know this. Hey, man, Ramon don't have it like that. His people don't have it like that. When you go to commissary, you decide on your own that, hey, I'm going to buy Ramon something, some deodorant, some soups, anything.
Right.
Just, here, man, this for you. That's a major case.
Oh, you can't even help
That's
anybody.
called contraband. That's called trafficking and trading. That's a major disciplinary case. A major disciplinary case is an automatic 1-year set-off when you come up for parole.
Wow. So nobody can even help you.
So now
And they can't help you because they feel like you con this person into
Exactly.
doing it. Right. When the person might just be nice.
My person might just be nice. Might just be like, hey, man, I lived with this person for years.
Right. I'm not gonna let him and my family's not broke, so I'm not gonna just let him starve.
I ain't gonna let him just starve.
Right. And stink and not do hygiene.
But if you do that, they see, hey man, it's that crazy. So now they teach you, they're training you or conditioning you to not only, if you do have things, they don't even want you to be compassionate to the next person or be empathetic to the next person that's in your same situation. So now you let that person out into society that's been conditioned to be selfish and unsympathetic and not to empathize with anyone else, to only be concerned with himself. And you let him back into society and you give him $50 when he get to the bus station and say, hey, bam, goodbye. And when he come out here, you say, here's all these resources that'll help you. But when they get here, those resources are not available.
Right. They're already booked up, maximum limit, no housing. It's there, but it's already been used. Those resources have already been used.
So part of our program, the Chaos and the Purpose, we work with guys, reentry guys. And I'm finna call the city of Houston out in their reentry program, okay? Because I walked over there and talked to them, and I was like, hey, I got this young brother that just came home. He done 12 years in prison. He been home about 4 months. We didn't put him to work, but I got a CDL school that's already set up to accept him. They just need you. Y'all got the funds. You say you will pay for ex-offenders to go to a vocation. So, hey, man, set this guy up. They said, oh, he needs to get his GED first.
Well, how's he going to get it?
He needs to, he can come over here. They got a program. He can come here and get his GED, and then he need to take some cognitive intervention classes, and then he need to do this. So now you got him taking a GED, taking some cognitive intervention classes for 4 or 5 months. After that, you can get him to take his he can go take the CDL. When I sent him to the work source, who said, yes, we'll help ex-offenders. I say, this school is already set up to accept money from the work source. This guy just came home from prison. I need to put him in school, CDL school. They say, oh, he need to have his driver's license for 6 months before we'll pay for him to go to CDL school. So here's this predator that you done let out, and he's trying to do the right thing.
Right.
And he said, man, okay. He said, go to the work source. They gonna help me. Go over here. They're gonna help me. No, we ain't gonna help you right now. We're not gonna give you no money. We're not gonna do this. You gotta go to this cognitive intervention, get your GED, keep your driver's license for 6 months. Who's going to feed him for 6 months?
Right.
Right? So, it's just like, man, we got to really understand what we're asking of people. We got to really understand every day, every month, 500 people come back to Harris County from TDC.
Do you have a choice to come back to Harris County? Say, like, if you got arrested or your crimes in Texarkana, can you choose?
You got to
or you
go
gonna
back to the county. You have to go back to the county that you was released to originally, so if your family or somebody you got a parole over here, then that has to be approved, and they will approve it. But other than that, you going back to the county where you was released from. Whoever held you, that's where you going.
Okay.
Right. And so it's just that doing things differently, doing things wanting something different is what motivated the change.
Wow.
Right?
So you wanted something different. So you worked towards something different.
Yeah.
So when you get out after being in prison, really most of your life or half your life, you've been in prison, how did you adjust?
So
who did you parole to? Was it family, friends?
I didn't. No. When Nicole.
Oh yeah, you weren't on parole.
Yeah, Nicole.
You one of the few people that's not on parole. I forget that.
So my high school sweetheart Nicole, she picked me up. That's who picked me up from the walls.
Okay.
And that's why I'm an advocate now for mental health. And
I am too.
And guys, see, man, these brothers just coming home.
They need mental health treatment.
Man, we need somebody to talk to.
Exactly.
Because there was a lot of...
And that's not a part of the parole program that you know of?
No.
Okay. But let me just say, this is so funny you said that, because I've been doing this show since 2011. This is 2024. And I've been in criminal law for 32 years. But from doing this show and talking to guys one-on-one like you with no axe to grind, you're not trying to con me as your lawyer, ain't lying to me. Or fussing at me or blaming me for your situation. We can actually have an honest conversation. What I've learned is the people who have adjusted the best got mental health treatment on their own.
Yeah.
I've had clients of mine that I've stayed with through the years, and when they got up, they were angry. And then when they got over the anger, they went on their own to Harris Health and got free treatment until they could get over whatever it is their issue is. A lot of them have different issues, but that anger from being in prison or being in jail or having a bad home life, whatever the situation is, there are anger issues that need to be dealt with. But you gotta want to do that treatment. People can't force you to do that.
And they have to recognize that it's needed, because it's not. People say, "Oh, I ain't mad at you," but a lot of times it's that people just be hurt, like real deal.
Like the person, the predator is hurt.
Yeah, like, man, I went to prison at 18 years old. So, I went from 1996, around Mother's Day weekend of 96, to my birthday of 2006 without seeing my mother. That was 10 years.
Wow.
That was
From what
10
year
years.
to what year?
My mother came to see me, and I got a picture. She brought my sister and them to see me. It was Mother's Day weekend of 1996. And when I seen my mother again, it was my birthday weekend of 2006.
Wow. Was it because you were so far away, or she was just dealing with the kids, or her own issues?
It was just life. Life be lifing. But for me, it's like, and remind you that for me, I was the baby for 8 years. So it was just my brother, my mother, and I. So for me to be in prison, I'm like, damn, man, it don't matter where I'm at. She should have came to see me. And so that's a hurt. Mm-hmm. And then, even with, I love my aunts, and they my girls, and they love me. You know what I'm saying? But it's still, you like, hey, man, y'all should have came to see me.
Oh, the aunts didn't come either?
Well, every now and again, but not like you.
Not
like, no, hey, man, this me, right? This me. My grandmother died while I was in prison. My mother, so it's a lot of hurt. And then by not being able to really appreciate or understand, or not having the emotional maturity to identify what that emotion actually is, we say, oh, I'm angry. Or it comes out as anger. It doesn't come out as just, man, I'm real hurt about that. So in my growth, I just really started having to understand and ask myself, what am I really feeling? So that's something, my self-inventory. I'd be like, man, what is it that you really feel? Are you mad? Nah, I ain't really mad. But what, and I talk to myself too. It's like, nah, that shit hurt my feelings, man.
Right, and sometimes for tough guys, it's hard to say something hurt your feelings.
Yeah.
So you don't want to say something hurt your feelings. But that's what the reality is. And you act out because your feelings are hurt without expressing that.
So when you have those misplaced emotions or misdiagnosed emotions, then you act out, right. and you don't handle them appropriately because you got them in the wrong category. You got them in your anger zone, right. Versus if you say, hey man, that really hurt my feelings. Now we ain't really talking about fighting. Right. I'm just like, man.
Right. Let's try to get an understanding. And sometimes when you can be vulnerable enough to tell people that they hurt you, they actually might have a reason why they did certain things that you could understand and kind of process. And sometimes they don't. But sometimes half the time, 50-50, people might really have a reason. They might have been angry with you or just so busy going through what they were going through that they didn't have the emotional energy.
What I realize is this. Everybody does what's best for them.
Right.
It's not personal.
It's not personal. That's true.
It's not personal. They wasn't sitting around making a decision, man, we ain't going to see Ramon.
Right.
It's just so
Life.
much going on.
Yeah, life.
That then when they look, but because my aunt, man, that's my girl, my Aunt Gail, I called her. One day I wrote her, and I said, man, I need some money. They took my fan. They did this here. It's 100+ degrees out here. I wrote her this letter, and I sent it. Now, she didn't write me back. And my buddy, he was like, man, come to the commissary line with me. I said, man, I ain't going down there. I ain't got no damn money. I ain't going down there. He was like, man, come on down there with me, man. Just come down there with me. I'm going to get some ice cream. I was like, all right, bet. So the way we standing in line, because I had no intentions of going up to the window and embarrassing myself to say that I don't have any money. So, but the way we walked up to the line, I was first and he was behind me. So the officer came and, hey, you need to fill out, make sure you had a commissary list. So I had to walk up to the window. I walked up to the window and I gave the lady my ID to run it. And she said, what you want to get? And I said, what?
How much money do I have?
I said, I got some money on there. She said, yeah. I said, how much money I got on there? She was like, you got $50. I said, hey, I got a blue slip in there for my fan. Give me my fan up out of there. She said, you sure do. So, and I tell my Aunt Gail about that sometime because that was.
So she didn't even let you know. Hey, I hear we got a phone call waiting. Caller, you're on. Ask your question, please.
Hi, I'm actually Ramon's aunt.
Okay. Is that Aunt Gail?
No, that's Aunt Nikki.
Oh, that's Aunt Nikki. Nikki, he want a fan from you, too.
That's my baby, too.
Hey, Aunt Nikki.
Yeah, and it is not an excuse. It was when he was in Dayton when my mom passed, right. And that was when he got that charge with the guard.
That was the first one, yeah.
Yeah, and so we actually went to see him after my mom passed to go tell him, like, hey, this is what happened. And we couldn't see him. They were like, he got in a fight with a guard. We're not going to let you see him. And he's isolated or what have you. And I was like, okay, well, can we just view him, just make sure he's okay? We don't want to think that. And then he cut me off real quick. He's like, we don't care what you think. And and I don't know if it was just the emotions from with my mom, but that just made me so angry. And I was just like, I'm not putting myself in this position to come down here and be treated and talked to like this. I'm not doing it. And I think that was the last time I went to see any of the boys in jail, because it's just like they talk to you just like, that was just awful to me.
No, I got you on that. As a criminal defense attorney for 22 years, I hated seeing my clients because the black lawyers were treated badly. So I'd liked it if I had a white lawyer co-counsel on a case, because I can go with him. They gon', what you need, Mr. So-and-so, here's your ID. But guards, they got the same nasty attitude with your lawyers.
Right.
So they're gonna be slow. They're gonna take their time. They're gonna just make you piss. They're just gonna piss you off. And so you got a bad attitude. You already don't want to be. I used to go see my clients on Sundays. So you already got to go see them up in jail on a Sunday after church. You prayed up, so you're kind of trying to feel a little calm. But when you get treated ugly. I went for so many years. At some point, they started treating me better. I got older. The guards got younger. Right. So the younger they were, the more respectful they were. When they were older than me, they weren't respectful. They were mean and racist and ugly for no reason. You working here, what you acting like this for? Be nice. Right. But so I do understand what you're saying, Aunt Nikki, because the person that you're going to see doesn't understand that, because all they want is a visit. Right. But they're not understanding. You don't want to be humiliated to go see somebody. Yeah. Because you're not being humiliated in your life ever. You avoid crazy situations. Right. You got your work life under control where everybody's going to respect each other. And then you got to go be treated like an animal because you're going to visit your loved one. It does make it, or your client. Right. Because your clients always want attorney visits, and really, it's not much to say. You told me what happened. I'm investigating it. I'm not your friend. So it's nothing else to talk about. I've already told you. You know, we got to wait. There's 1,000 cases ahead of you. We got to wait till the trial comes. But they want to see you. But I'm not your friend. So I've already told you everything I can tell you. And then I got to be humiliated. But, you know, I never used to tell my clients that because they don't want to hear that. They in jail.
Right.
But I'm pissed off. It's my day is messed up now because I got to go have a drink after I leave because, you know, they done made me mad.
Right.
But, you know, you just got to pray up and say, well, I'm not the one in jail. You know, I'm doing this for the right reason. Lord help me.
So him, his older brother, and their mom, they were all in jail at one time.
Oh, wow.
At the same time. And actually, when my mom passed and he was in jail, at that same time, his mom was in jail. I think she got out maybe a year later. But yeah, so it was a lot. and I know they felt that with my mom gone because she would regularly go see them. And I know
my grandmother used to come.
What about when you were far away? Your grandmother would still come?
Velma gonna come. Velma Jean gonna come.
So did she try to come like once a month or what?
Well, I mean,
she just gonna come.
Yeah, she gonna come. I know if she would show up, she gonna come. You know, if you write her or send a message, she was coming. You know, so.
Okay, Aunt Nikki, you want to say anything else?
No, that was all. I just wanted to give that aspect of what goes on.
And I understand. So the maturity is that one of my good friends, Steve Smith, one of my good brothers, man, his mother died leaving the seat from seeing him. Wow. A head-on collision.
Oh my God.
He was from Beaumont. And if Steve see this, I love you, bro. Man, and we understood that. We understood that, like, we lost her together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was. All
right, Aunt Nikki, hang up the phone.
You don't want people. You don't want your family in that emotional maturity, right? So it's like, no, I don't want you. I don't want my people coming up here to see me.
Getting killed on the freeway.
Yeah, certain places now. I don't even want you to come up here because these guards are so nasty that I'd rather you don't come, right? So, but that came with the time.
There was a guy that used to be on my show often, Ray Hill. He's dead now. He was like one of the longest serving people with AIDS, big activist. But he got 3 life sentences when he was a young man because he said it was expensive being gay back in the day. I think he died in his 70s, and he was on the board at the studio. He was real popular, and he used to get paid. He was an older white gentleman. He used to get paid to teach people how to do time. Families would pay him to teach him how to do time. And Ray would always tell us, the guards, the criminals, and the police, same people.
Same people.
He said, and you're the second person that said that. Ray Hill would always say that. He said, they're the same people. They're the same people. And I got that from him. So it's interesting that you're so, such a deep thinker and so reflective to see that, because sometimes, not all the time, but a lot of times they're the same people.
Right.
And even some of the police on the street, they're the same people. Just one side, they're the same people.
The dominant culture, a subculture can only exist if the dominant culture allows it. So all of the corruption that happens amongst the guards in prison is the subculture. So the dominant culture is the policies and procedures. But the subculture exists because the dominant culture allows it.
Right.
That's sociology. So that lets you know that if the prison, all that culture is together. Everybody in there is drawn to that place like a magnet, and everybody, the inmates and the officers, are all the same. The ones who not supposed to be there, I wasn't supposed to be there. I came home, I ain't going back. The officers that's not supposed to be there, they get a job there, they work, they say, this not what it is, it's not what this not for me, I'm gone, deuces. The ones who stay, it's for them.
They're part of that culture.
They're part of that culture.
So how do you think, how did you get the predator out of you?
So.
The super predator, how did you get that super predator out of you? Because you were definitely a predator when you went in robbing people.
Yeah.
That's the way you lived. So, and then.
So for me, I credited, so when I came home, my mother's dead. Okay, my mother's gone. My grandmother's gone.
Now, how did your mom die?
My mother was sick. My mother was sick. She died of HIV. I ain't said that to nobody out loud ever.
Well, I mean, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
It is what
So, yeah. And so, man, my mother was dead. My mother was gone. I got I got 6 brothers and sisters up under me. Right? My grandmother's gone. Their father is gone. My mother is gone. My oldest brother locked up. So it's like, hey, man, Allah chose me to be here for them, right? So one of my prayers was that if I ever got the chance to be there for them, I would do it. And so when I got the chance, I just did it. You know, you have to have a purpose greater than yourself. And they got that for me.
Oh, I see the tears in your eyes.
Yeah.
So they were there for you, and you were there for them.
Yeah, so it's like I come home and they have lived a life of chaos. You know, they done lived a life, their life has been chaotic. They seen their uncle kill their daddy, the mama, the violence, their brother's been in prison. So it's like, damn, I gotta come home and really show something different.
Yes.
Okay, I really gotta come home and do something different, completely different.
But how do you do it when you've never had to do it different? I mean, how did you gain the tools? Was it from reading, from prayer? Did you have an outside mentor? I mean, how do you learn how to be a man's man instead of a predator?
It's a lot of brothers that I accredited with my growth and development that I did time with. But for me, reading the Quran was so impactful, okay? And then the deep thought, right? So God created Adam and told Adam that you can have everything. You can have everything. So it's a brother named Haywood Talib, Imam Talib. He asked me one time, he said, if you make Adam neither male nor female, right? Take the sex away from it. Then Adam is a prototype. He's a state of mind, right? Adam was a God-conscious state of mind. In the Bible, it say Adam walked with God in the midst of the garden. What does this mean? This means that he was constantly in conversation. That prayer, he was constantly talking to God.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So therefore, as long as that you in that Adam state of mind, you have action at everything. Okay? You got action at everything. Just stay away from this one thing. What is this one thing that Adam was told to stay away from? Right. So we say the Satan, the bleed, the devil, the this. But what was the devil, right? He was the fallen angel. What was it? He was arrogant. Stay away from arrogance. Stay away from self-worship. Stay in your Adam state of mind, consciously talking to God, and stay away from your Ramon state of mind, right? Because Ramon be wanting to do some crazy shit.
Right.
So it's times, you know, I done struggled financially, I done well, and I done struggled. So recently, I was like, hey, man, it's hard to humble yourself and ask somebody for some money. It's hard for me, right? It's hard for me. So, but you know what's harder?
What's that?
Going to prison.
Oh, yeah, you don't ever want to do that again.
Right. So I humble myself and I call my little sister up and I say, hey, I need to borrow some money until payday. She say, it's a good thing I got it, right? Because versus going do something wrong, right? Because here it is, if I go, one of the things that hurt me the worst is my brother went back to prison. And the time that he went back to prison, I was up. I was financially straight. He could have asked me for whatever he took from them people. He could have asked me for it, and I would have gave it to him. But he didn't humble himself. Right? And he said, I'm going to make it happen.
Right.
And that's where I want to say this. I have to say this.
Yep, because we got about He said 2 minutes, but maybe 5.
Okay, I have to say this. So, 2010, December 2010, I'm on some me shit.
Right.
I'm gonna do what I want to do.
Is that where you already out?
Yeah, I'm out. I'm out. I'm out.
And you get on some me shit right there?
Right,
Now?
because here's the thing. I came home and the code told me, look, I don't even want you to look for no job for 30 days.
Right.
So from May 1st to May 31st, I didn't even look for a job. I just chill, kick back, relax. She said, you've been locked up, just relax. I got my TWIC card, I got my IDs. I didn't get my TWIC card, I applied for it. So in the interim, now June come, they had the BP oil spill. I got on a couple of jobs. But in the time, I'm going to school to do safety, which is what I do now. So I'm going to school to do safety, but none of these companies will give me the opportunity. They still talking about what happened in 1994.
Right.
Okay? So bam, I'm running out of money. I don't have no money, so I'm about to do something desperate.
Right.
And my sister called me. I got plans to do something desperate. My sister called me and she said, hey, I need you to take me to probation tomorrow. And I said, man, I got something lined up. I ain't taking you no probation. And she said, no, if you don't take me to probation, I'm going to jail. So I said, damn. So I called my partners. I said, hey, look, I ain't going to be there tomorrow. I said, what? I got to be there for my sister. Because I told Allah, if you give me the chance to be there for them, I'm going to be there for them.
Right.
So bam, I take her to the probation. My whole team that was on the play that we was on got busted and went to jail.
Wow.
That day.
Wow.
Okay.
That was God talking to you.
Exactly.
Talking back, trying to answer your
And here's
prayer.
this how great God, he let me see it. We was coming back from my sister's probation officer, and guess what we pulled up on? Everybody going to jail.
Wow.
She say, see, because I've been messing with her the whole time, man, you made me miss
Wow.
all this money. She say, no, I made you miss going to jail. So look, I fasted and prayed again. Y'all think I'm playing. I fasted for 3 days, I prayed. I went to the mosque in downtown and I talked to God just like I'm talking now. And I said, Allah, if you don't help me, I'm gonna mess this up. I'm going back to prison. It's a verse in the Quran that says, Allah hears the prayer of every supplicant. Let him also hear him. So I told him that. I said, hey man, in your book you said yada, yada, yada. I say, in your book you say the believers have already won. I know I believe in you. So I'm telling you now, this is what I need. And I promise this is how I said my prayer. I said, hey.
We're wrapping it up.
We wrapping it up. I said, hey, if you don't give me a way to take care of them, I'm going back to prison. I got a call from Cardinal Services, and he hired me as a safety professional. And I worked continuously for the next 10 years.
Wow.
I did not miss a day of work.
Wow.
So it becomes the prayer and being humble enough to stay in your Adam state of mind.
Wow.
And not think about, hey, what I'm gonna make happen. Stay in your Adam state of mind and everything is open.
All right, they're shutting us down. All right, well, thank you for this great story. It's been inspirational. Hold tight, hold tight. We're wrapping it up.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Ramon. I'm proud of you. Sit tight until he turns us off completely.